Oh, it does count, right. All their moves knock you away, which is crazy good. Really, really good. Thank God for that. Yeah, you could easily go way more into damage with it, and spec, you know, into maybe not even into bleed, but I think bleed works really well with this. Like, it's yeah, very unique compared to the others because the bleed just gives you insane sustain and obviously do the extra damage with the bleed effect as well. But the Talwar is a weapon I've been wanting to use for a while. This blade, it's very, very good. It's the main weapon I used when I was leveled during the Breach update, and so I really wanted to use it because of the animations and just the way it feels. It's a really cool weapon. So I'll kind of explain. There's quite a bit to explain with it actually, because this is a new build. I've not done this yet on the channel. This one with this weapon, but yeah, using the bleed here. So this is a big part of the build, obviously, and then you're utilising the lifesteal on the gloves with that. and getting the boost in there. So that's 40% of 24, so let's just say that's 8% or something. Probably more than that. Is it 10%? It'll get to 25, so it'll be 10%. So 35% healing on these attacks, which is really, really good. Plus the shield gives me 10%. Well, 13% actually, because of the boost on the gem. When you add all that up, with the damage I'm doing, you just get an insane lifesteal. You're constantly full health. But I'm utilising charge attacks here, so I've got charge attack boosted here. And with that, you're just doing insane damage on all these hits. Now you don't have to always use it, but it's, you know, usually what I'll do is if I need to heal, quick attack, so I won't charge it just to bleed them, then charged attack after. Because then, if I do 1,300, which you can do 1.3k crits with this, you just get lifesteal off that, massive amounts. So the damage is insane, mainly because of physical. Physical right now is insanely good. I've got 10% here, 10% there, another 10. This will get boosted a bit, 10 here. So I've got 50% physical damage, boosted by all the gems, right? So if you get 40%, you can get to 70% physical damage, which is really good. Then I've got crit chance, really good rolls here, 10% on all of these. With 20% on the base and the weapon as well, because this has 20% base. Then I didn't get any here, which is fine because I got what I wanted, which was armor pen. So this will go to 21% armor pen, I think, which is really good. So my armor pen is going to be like really high, but crit chance is 20, plus you'll get 14 here if I get this. I'll get 28 with that. 42, it's already at 62%. Let's say plus 7 there. So 70% crit chance is very good with 65% bonus crit damage for this build, because you've got really good base damage. So even if you don't crit, you're doing really good damage because of the physical. Physical has really good base values. Physical does scale with bleed, so it doesn't scale the actual the bleed tick when they move, but the red numbers go up with physical. I think that's a good thing that they didn't really affect the enchantments for physical, because it gives it something unique. Which is that it's just best for pure base damage, but obviously the elements generally are better because of the other bonuses you get from the gear pieces. So, but with this, with bleed, yeah, physical's very, very good, and it allows you to still pump good damage numbers out. So that kind of gives a rough idea really on the gear, but yeah, physical where you can, armor pen on 3, charge attack damage with the bleed here. Bit of stamina recovery is good with the durable. Just to help it, you know, once you've done your attacks, and you kind of, it costs quite a bit, 14 per attack. With all the dodge rolling does add up, and yeah, it does help you there on the pants there, quite a bit. And then the rings, obviously 2 stamina. You could run the armor ring here, but I think the move speed's pretty good. Just so you move a bit quicker and get into the boss quicker sometimes, or enemies. You can move around a bit. But you could run the armor ring if you want to be a bit tankier. That's a good option. And then damage resist here with no durable, but I would get durable here if I could, but I don't want to abuse that too much. I think it's too strong. Damage resist on durability is too strong in my opinion, so I think just a bit of resist is fine to not go too crazy on that. Obviously running the full focus setup, so the negatives here don't do anything. So that's all good. Speed is good as well, so speed on the gloves, speed here. Double speed in the weapon. You want to get these out as quick as you can. Even without any damage boost, look at the damage I'm doing, it's crazy damage. If I went into damage on this, dropped this gem, maybe put the focus gem in here. I'm not going to do that though, and I wouldn't recommend it. The lifesteal is insane on this. That's why I've got really good health, because you're just getting so much back, it's a really good value. But you could do the damage ring, maybe the glass cannon ring, to get more damage there, put more points into damage than what I've done. But you don't need to. You know, I'm doing 1.3k crits on one of these attacks on the enemies that aren't boosted. But you're doing 1k crits on the Echo Knight and stuff, so. And yeah, the tower is very good for this because of the charged attacks. All these count as charged attacks, so very, very good. So what does that mean? Well, if I do the normal attacks like this, you're probably thinking, It's only this attack and the second one that do charged attack damage. No. All of these hits class as charged attacks, even the last two that follow up like the basic attack. So that's why it's doing really big damage numbers. So you want to use charged attack damage here. These are really good though, because they're quicker. So do light attacks on small enemies sometimes. It's better for small enemies just to get the quick attacks out. And like I said, if you need to heal, same as the samurai build, you go in, uppercut, to charged attack. That's how you heal. Just do a light attack into that. On bosses, don't do that though, just get the damage out on bosses, because you'll be constantly bleeding the boss will, so just only do charged attacks on bosses. Another tip, this move, really good. Close the gaps on fast enemies, you can just keep doing that, it does pretty good as a gap closer on the fast ones, so usually what I do is I go like that, spam the fast attacks onto the next one. But you can use that as an entry to bleed them, then charge attack to one-hit them as well, so that's a good combo as well. Like that. If they're a bit tankier, you want to close in on a big enemy. That's what I do. Quick into it, get the bleed on. Yes, there's a few ways you can play it. The dodge attack I think is the same. Yeah, it is, yes sir. So yeah, loads of good ways to move around, and yeah, I just think bleed is a really cool style with this. It's very unique, and it's hard to make bleed work on a lot of builds without losing damage, but this is one of the only builds for melee where you can make bleed still do insane damage because of this weapon if you spec it properly with physical. I think I got very lucky with these really. You know, getting a lot of armor pen, a lot of good crit chance. But yeah, you don't need too much crit damage, just get one crit damage and get that base damage up really high. And everything just scales really nicely. And yeah, the shield's obviously really nice with the physical, so you can't do this any other element, but you get an extra 10% damage here because of the shield. It's really nice. So stats wise, I think high 300s is really good, because you're making the most of this lifesteal. If you cap your health at 280, you're not really making the most of it. You know, you just got that insane healing, why not completely juice it, you know? Get the most value you can there. The shield is just a stat stick though, so don't worry about blocking or anything like that. So just to point that out as well. But yeah, the healing is really good for 370 health. You just fill it up instantly, makes you really tanky. Could you go to more health? Maybe you could go to 400 health, but I don't think it's needed. I think 370 is pretty good. I won't go below 320 though. It's not really worth it. You know, for the amount of points you lose here, 50 health, you'd only get about 5% damage in the points, I think. Something like that. Maybe a bit more. Maybe 10%. Stamina, I think you'd be okay at 85 plus. You don't want to go too low because there are points where sometimes you get pinned in, you need that extra stamina. And if you do a pestilence where they take your stamina away, you want to be able to kind of resist that one. By having a bit of extra stamina. So 90 plus is good, but I think 85 plus is functional for stamina. And stats have got 68 total in here. But yeah, if you get 200 total on the right there, and just stay within 200 plus, you're going to do crazy damage. If you want to go full on DPS, you could obviously go to like 230, then put the glass cannon ring in, instead of this one. Keep the other two. This will allow you to spam constantly on bosses, and this is just really good DPS. Need to boost that actually. With Radiant. I would recommend Ice Resist on something. I've got it on this 2 rings here. I've got 2 with Plague as well, and then I've got Ice Resist here. So it does boost it to its 60%, and Plague is 60 as well. 59. Because you are going to be rooted a lot with this. So you're kind of rooted in position. And that's why I don't use the fast dodge, I'm using medium dodge. And that's the heavy roll you could possibly use with it as well, but you haven't got a shield. I do like the heavy roll when you got a shield, but that's medium, because you can just block stuff. You don't have to dodge roll all the time, but I think medium roll is very good for this, for the boss and just in general, because the shield doesn't work really. Light shields are just stat sticks, that's all they are. Unless you fully spec into it. But we're not going to do 36. I mean, you could go to 36 on here actually just to get the bonus, but you're not going to block with this, and 95 armor's not going to do anything. To be honest. Extra 10 poise I guess, but yeah, you don't want to be blocking with this, in my opinion, unless you got a medium shield in your build. You could do a medium shield here, then go heavy, run it like the samurai build. You could do that, but I think for this, it's better to be a bit lighter, put more points into damage. Sorry, be a bit lighter and run a lighter shield, so you don't need as much equip load. And yeah, just a bit of faster movement. I think it's better to be a bit lighter with this, personally. And then yeah, pretty much for the rest of that, equip load, get into the medium range. And for that, I've got 2 leather, mesh pants, and plate gloves. So that will get you where you need to be with this equip load. But again, with the builds, you don't need to copy exactly what I've got gear-wise. You know, you might get a mesh chest here, right? But then run leather pants, and then just you might have to put a bit more on equip load. That's fine. But yeah, stat-wise, pretty happy with those numbers. Just trying to think if there's anything else to learn really. Yeah, I think this is pretty good for the movement speed with these 2 rings. It does help you. Just be careful with the slow effects. I think medium rolls are kind of the weakest right now in some ways, because usually with a heavy roll you're quite tanky, or you've got a medium shield to block if you get surrounded. Fast builds have got the fast dodge to get out of it, but with this, you know, sometimes you are relying just on the dodge alone. And it's obviously, you know, you don't have the benefit of being either super tanky with a shield that's heavier, or the fast dodge, so just be careful in water and sludge. That's the main thing, and also getting knocked off the map. When you are rooted in, you've got to make good decisions here. Once you commit, you can't just wipe everything out because it's that good, damage-wise, but you could end up being halfway through an animation and something could... Thanos could be stood to the side of you while you're hitting a guy here, and he can knock you off because you're not attacking towards him, so... If you're playing hardcore with this, just bear that in mind. If I was playing hardcore, I'd run a medium shield. But yeah, softcore, definitely running like this. But super fun build. The bleed. I've been wanting to do a bleed build for a while, and this has worked out really good. It's one of my favourite builds this patch. I just like the style of it and just the way it plays. Really aggressive. You can kind of just charge into enemies with it. And one thing to do is you could put a bit more into poise here by getting a mesh chest. Mesh chest. Put a bit more into equip load. Get to 20 plus poise, and you could just first tank everything. Again, you could go full plate though, and go into heavy roll, and just be really poisey and put a medium shield in. But I do like the idea of just being able to be a bit faster with this, and run around, and makes it a bit more adaptable to some of the bosses, I think. Being a bit faster and just having that movement. But you're still pretty tanky. 50% armor is pretty good. With 370 health, you are quite tanky to be fair, so... Hope that helps. Really glad I made this one. Really fun. But I've got another new build coming up next, which is going to be interesting. It's going to be very different. I'm going to try and make it quite tanky. But with the new damage resist stuff, I don't know how tanky I'll be able to get, because it does kind of cap off now. I don't know if you can get above 80% resist, but I'll try and get as high as I can with it and make it almost like an unkillable build. That's going to be the idea of it, we'll see. But that will be up soon as well.